Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So it's beautiful Saturday morning. It's getting pretty warm out already. I've got me 2 boxes of soybeans put in my seed tender, and some of you were asking me about stirring in the dust seed lubricant. Well, the best way I've found to do it so far, and this is how it was recommended to me, is before I put the box in the tender, I pop the top off the box and I sprinkle it in on top of the seed, and then I put it in the tender, and then by the time I drive to the field and bounce the tender down the road and auger it across into the hopper of the planter, and then by the time I bounce the planter across the field, it does a pretty good job of blending it up. There was very little, if any, left in the seed tender, and last night when I run the planter out, there was very little residue in the bottom of the planter. So that tells me that it is sticking to the seed and it's going out with the seed, and that's what they recommend that you want to see. So yesterday when I did sprinkle it right on top of the tender, that kind of worked, but it didn't work as good as putting it in the box first, draining the box in, and then augering them out with it. So that's the best way that I've found to mix it. So what I want to do this morning is Dad's starting to plant corn here at the home farm. This is crimson clover cover crop with some radishes growing in it. There were turnips in this mix, but they winter killed, so they're gone. But a couple days ago we had this sprayed, and the spray is working really good on it, and you can see it's really wilted it. So now Dad's gonna plant right into this. So before I take off, I'd like to get some video of him planting and just show you how it's working. And I want to see for myself too. I haven't seen him plant in this yet, but with the residue managers on the planter now and the spiked closing wheels, it's been doing a really good job in chickweed and stuff, so I think it'll do just fine in this. So we'll go get some video after I help Dad's Strength hook the 4955 up to the 30-foot disc. Well, Dad wanted me to bring the Gator out and drive around and look and see what I think of his job planting in this stuff, and I think it's doing a wonderful job. I mean, there's no seed corn exposed anywhere. The seed furrows are pretty much clean dirt. I think it's doing a really good job. The next question is, what's this going to be like to side dress anhydrous on? Hopefully the colders will cut right through it on the anhydrous applicator and it won't be an issue. But we'll wait till the corn's, you know, a good foot tall or so. But I think it's doing a real good job. I like how every once in a while you see a radish flipped out. There's some pretty good sized ones in here actually. Somehow them residue managers just grab them and flip them right out of the ground. The one benefit I see to all this between the rows is once it gets matted down in there, I think it's really going to help with weed control also, because it's going to shade out the center of the rows. So, in fact, I'm half tempted to pull the seedbed finisher over this now and mat that stuff completely down. I don't think it would hurt anything. Or some sort of roller would be nice now just to flatten everything. But it, being it's sprayed, over the next couple weeks it'll pretty much die and turn brittle and fall on its own, so I think we're good. So I'm gonna follow behind Dad. I want to watch and see what the planter's doing exactly through this cover crop. Ends are a little rough. So it's doing a really good job. So to give you a little history on what we got going on here, this is our actual first time of planting a cover crop of this caliber, I guess like you can say. We've always done a lot of just cereal rye, but this is the first time that we've done a crimson clover, turnip, and radish mix like this. So this is kind of experimental to us. But we done it for a few reasons. The one reason was we're following a mint crop. And with the cover crop, we are hoping that if there is any herbicide residual left from the mint, that the cover crop would soak that up over the winter and the spring and suck that out of the ground, if there was any. There shouldn't have been any to begin with, but you just never know. And since the herbicide for mint kills corn, we thought it'd be a good idea. Another reason was we were trying to build the organic matter on some of the sandhills on this farm, because the organic matter will help store some of the water from the irrigation and just help build the soil up on the higher sand. And another reason is the radishes and turnips and things like that, they offer nutrients to the corn. So by planting right through them, if those seeds end up close to a turnip or a radish that's rotted underground, it'll actually suck some nutrients from that radish or that turnip. So there's a lot of benefits to cover crops. They are expensive to put out though. So that's, you gotta weigh out your options. Cereal rye is about the cheapest to put out as a cover crop. I think the planter's doing really good in it. We'll get over here right behind it. And now we've got the spiked closing wheels on our corn planter, so that actually helps crumble off the side of the seed furrow and smash it back in. We're running one spiked and we're running one smooth closing wheel here on the back. Oh yeah, that's looking real good. Dad said instead of putting anhydrous on this, we might actually just put on liquid fertilizer with a colder cart, so we don't have to worry about the knives dragging through the cover crop and falling up. But we are going to wait till it's about a foot tall to do any side dressing on it. Okay, so I'm going to follow him to the end of the field. I got to make a phone call real quick, and then I got to go move a pivot, and we're going to see if Dad can get past the fuel tank like he did like 5 years ago. He perfectly went past the fuel tank without smacking it with a marker. It was an awesome picture when I took it. So we're going to see if we can get it on video and see if he can do it again without ripping a marker off. This ought to be interesting. So I'm going to move our Valley 2-tower pivot out of the way so that Dad can plant up to it on that side, and then I'll move it back and then he can keep on planting across. So before I start it, I want to go over a few safety tips when messing with irrigation systems. So these do run on 483 phase electric. They are dangerous, or they can be dangerous. So if you ever walk up to one, I'm going to give you a tip that'll save your life, most likely. First of all, inspect for any rodent chewed wires, anything like that. Make sure that all grounds are connected before you even start your power unit. And what I always do after I start the power unit is I walk up to the box or I walk up to the pivot and I smack it with the back of my hand, just like that. Don't ever grab like this, because if there is an issue and there's voltage here and you grab, you won't be able to let go and it'll kill you. So that's why you always smack them with the back of your hands. I can't stress it enough. So even like fittings and stuff like that, even a power unit, just smack it with your hand. You know, if you smack it, the worst you're going to get is an electrical burn. You know, you're not going to grab a hold of it and not be able to let go of it, because voltage makes you hold on, and then once you grabbed on, you're not going to get away from it. So I've got the power on now. I hit it with the back of my hand. Everything's good. We're going to turn it to 100% because we want it to drive quickly, and I believe we want to go forward with it. Oh, I was wrong. Reverse. It's going. It's just slow. So, some think that these actually run steady to go around, but they actually don't. the end tower is the lead tower. So it'll drive forward until the micro switches change. Once the micro switches change, they'll run this tower forward, and then once they switch off there, they'll go run that tower forward some more. And the longer the pivot, the more times you have of that happening. But see, it doesn't move very fast at all. That's 100%, so it takes quite a while to get them moved out of the way. It should start here in a second. There it goes. So this one's got the big tires on it because it goes through the muck spot down there. We used to have trouble with it getting stuck. It'd get down in there and it would get stuck, and we'd have to go pull it out in the middle of the summer in the 8-foot tall corn. That just really sucked. So we got these big tires and put on this one. So once this moves far enough out of the way, I'll shut it off, Dad will plant, and then I'll bring it back. There are also hydraulic driven pivots on the market, and instead of having electric motors, they have hydraulic orbital motors, and that's what I built the Trummel all out of. It's actually built out of T&L irrigation parts, and that's what actually drives the whole Trummel. I've got the T&L pump, and I've got the T&L hydraulic motors to run the Trummel, the conveyor, the feeder hopper. All that stuff is all T&L stuff. And also these gearboxes on the Trummel are made by T&L. So kind of cool, I was able to use irrigation parts to build the Trummel with. But the hydraulic ones are the same way, but instead of micro switches and stuff on each tower, they have hydraulic valves that pull on, the cables pull them to shut them off and turn them on, and that's how they move their towers. So if you're kind of wondering why out in that area there's really not much cover crop, if any at all, that was pretty wet when they spread it. They just stayed out of it. So since then, over the winter, we cleaned the ditch and stuff and got some drainage down there and got it dried out. So it was just too wet to spread, and we didn't want a chance getting the spreader stuck because that is some pretty soft muck when it's wet. So that's why there's none there. Well, Dad ran out of fertilizer, so I'm going to take the peat out back and back it into the field and get him some. Truck sat all night and run out of air. We haven't had it running yet today. Okay, so now Dad has to plant past this pivot pad, and the last time he planted corn on this farm, he literally ran the marker blade right under the curve of the tank and went past it. I've got a picture of it. So we're gonna see if he can do it again this year. Now he could have started differently from that side of the field than what he did the last time he planted, so he might be farther away from it this time. We don't know yet. So We stepped it off, and I think he should be okay, but I'm gonna video it just because it was such a historic picture on Facebook. Everybody loved it. The best part is when he done it, he never even slowed down, never even let out of it. It was just great. It was one of them hold your breath moments, because we were standing here watching it. I couldn't believe he didn't even let out of it. I guess he was confident. So we'll see what happens. At least his marker's got a shear bolt in it, so if it does catch it, it won't be too bad. Oh man, he must have started a little different than what he did last year, or last time he planted here. Oh, he must have been like at least 2 foot farther this way. But you know, he could have lost that in inches over the whole width of the field there. He could have been, you know, a little tight on some rows, a little loose on other rows, but that's still pretty close. I mean, he didn't even let out of it. So I mean, that's kind of hard to see from the seat if that's going to clear. So I think he's just that confident. Okay, so he's going to come back, he's going to plant this, and then I'll move the pivot back over here, and then he'll be able to plant the rest of the field, and I'm going to go plant some beans. I meant to say he was probably 2 foot farther to the west when he started, because that's the west, this is east. So that put him not as far over this way, is what I meant to say. Well, I'm finally planting beans for the day. So this farm's 89 acres total here, so this will keep me busy for a while today. It's kind of nice, it's pretty much all in one spot. It starts down here and goes all the way on the other side of the house. So I won't have to fold up and do much road time. There are 2 fields. There's the back field, and then there's this big field. But the back one I can even sneak down the road and go in without folding up. So I'm going to work on planting this today. We've got plenty of video content with what we shot this morning with Dad planting corn. And I know a lot of guys like to see the corn planting. So over here on this side, that whole farm is going to be all solar panels by next year. So the solar panels projects have started. They're fencing areas in, fenced an area in over there, and that's all going to be solar panels. They took down all the irrigation, and it'll all be solar panels. And all the electric's going to go to Ohio, so it's not really going to benefit us in any way, shape, or form. Supposedly it's going out to a big industrial park that is supposedly a green industrial park, meaning that they get all their power from wind energy and solar energy. That whole smoke and mirrors conspiracy right there. Anyways, I don't get into the politics of it. You know, it's none of my business. They can do what they want. But this landowner here that we farm for, she looked at the paperwork that they brought to her and presented to her because they wanted to put solar panels on her property, and she said absolutely not. So that's why we're still farming this, and I'm glad that she said absolutely not, because it'd be a shame to put this good ground into solar panels. So, you know, it's sad part is we're not getting any more ground. It's not being made every day. So, you know, we need to keep something to grow food on. And even though these soybeans are probably going to be for industrial uses, probably not food, but still we need the product. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this video uploading. I know I had a few questions. A new viewer wanted to know if I built this planter. No, I did not build this planter. This is a factory Henniker air seeder. Everything on it is factory built. I did not build it. So anyways, getting back to what I was saying, a friend of mine stopped and asked me, hey, do you want some John Deere round fender garden tractor parts? Like, hell yes, I'll take them. I still play with my round fenders. He's got some cast iron Kohler engines, transmission, stuff like that. He said that he's moving, so he's like, I'd like to see you have them. So I'm like, great. So anyways, I'm going to offer him something for him. So anyways, the other question was that I was going to answer after answering about did I build this air seeder. The other question was, how many acres do you farm? We farm right at 2,000 acres. So we are still looking at a few more acres yet this spring to pick up. I was contacted by a couple different landowners and made some offers and waiting to hear back from them. But as of right now, we are at 2,000 acres. And that's a pretty good sized chunk, but we're still looking for some more. So anyways, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one.